It's Fight News Now Extra. Welcome to the show. I'm John Pollock, where we take you through all of the news happening today in mixed martial arts, and then John Ramdian and Robin Black will be stopping by as we discuss all of it. On the lineup today, two heavyweights have agreed to fight in the UFC. Henry Cejudo is on the radar of another flyweight, and we have a main event for Brazil this coming May. MMAfighting.com is reporting that the main event for the UFC's May 30th card in Brazil is confirmed, with Carlos Condit set to return on that date and meet Thiago Alves. Condit has been out of action since March of last year, when he suffered a torn ACL and partially torn meniscus during his loss to Tyron Woodley at UFC 171 in Dallas. Alves has won his last two fights after a 2-year layoff due to injuries, where he has defeated Seth Pachinski and Jordan Meehan. UFC flyweight Jussier Formiga recently spoke to MMAfighting.com and is hoping to land a big fight at 125 pounds in the near future. Formiga specifically noted he would like to fight 2008 Olympic gold medalist Henry Cejudo, who was victorious this past weekend over Chris Carriazo. Formiga has not fought since last August and has won his last two fights over Scott Jorgensen and Zach Makovsky. And finally, there's no better place to line up a fight than on Twitter. Roy Nelson and Josh Barnett verbally agreed to fight one another this week, coming off Nelson's loss to Alistair Overeem this past Saturday at UFC 185. Of course, the fight is not official, and Nelson is recovering from a broken hand he sustained during the fight with Overeem. It would be Barnett's first fight since December of 2013, where he was defeated by Travis Brown. This coming Saturday night, we are getting you all set for the UFC's return to Rio de Janeiro with our live preview show at 7 p.m. Eastern, where Ryan LaFleur will be joining us on the program. Prelims are going down same place here on Fight Network, with 4 fights from Rio de Janeiro, including Francisco Trinaldo and Akbar Arreola. And then the main card is over on TSN, 10 p.m. Eastern, featuring your main event of welterweights Damian Maia and Ryan LaFleur. All right, you know these two gentlemen, John Ramdian and Robin Black. Lots of news to discuss off the top there. MMAfighting.com reporting that it looks to be set. Carlos Condit, Thiago Alves, a really fun fight at 170 pounds. It's been over a year since we've seen Carlos Condit. It was the Dallas card of a year ago where he messed up his knee against Tyron Woodley. What do you think about this comeback fight against Thiago Alves, who's a guy that has had his own laundry list of injuries over the years?
Yeah, I think it's an awesome fight. It's an action fight. I'm sure Robin's going to say that Carlos Condit just a little too technical for Thiago Alves, but Jordan Meehan was also a little too technical for Thiago Alves. But Alves, because of the true warrior that he is, and perfect nickname, Pitbull, never backing down, saw his opportunity and took it to Jordan.
Yeah, but this guy's a natural-born killer.
That's true.
Like, you know, he's a pit bull, cool, but this guy's a natural-born killer. Yeah, he's very technical. It's a great fight. It's a great fight, and if you're Condit and they said, here's the top 15 guys, who do you want? This would be who you'd want. He's very dangerous, but so is every single guy that you step in there with. Super dangerous. But there will be areas that Condit will believe that he's a better fighter, and that's what you want. You also don't want to end up going in there and excited to have a gunfight and end up on your back with Johnny Hendricks on you, smashing you. Yeah. We had that happen already. I'm sure he's addressed it, but with a year off, you don't want to go back into your worst style matchup possible. You want to go into your best style matchup, and fortunately for all of us, it's also really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that the fact that this is going to be a 25-minute fight, I really favor Condit in that sense. Sure. Of course, there are going to be that questions of the year off, but I also look at a lot of fighters, when you have that time off, sometimes you have fighters come back and they look like completely evolved people. That year off can really... Frank Mir's the perfect example of that, a guy who stepped back and look what we got in response. So
Carlos Condit's been in this game for a long time. Part of the WEC, also competed in Rumble in the Rock back in the day with that tournament that had Jake Shields and Anderson Silva and Yushin Okami. This guy has been fighting at the highest level since I think he was 19 years of age. So I think for him to take a step back, be away from mixed martial arts, recuperate, and focus, I think this is a good thing for him.
Yeah, it will heal all. Sure, you got this one problem, one of your twigs is out and it's damaged. Well, during the time of healing and rehabbing that, you're healing all your other joints, all your other soft tissue, all that stuff. Your body's taking a break from gaining and losing weight. I think it'll be good for him.
Thiago Alves, do you think does he try to attack the legs? I mean, he's known for his leg kicks, super powerful. I would anticipate that would be a target for him.
For sure, and guys are good. Sorry, good guys are good at stopping leg kicks. Good guys know what to do. You can check it hard like Weidman did against Silva. You can make a guy pay immediately and discourage him from doing it. Or better yet, just don't be there when he kicks. And that was Jordan's plan. And Jordan was doing really, really well at it. He told me going in, he's like, you can offensively check, but just don't be there when he kicks. And when he's slightly off balance, come in and drill him. Jordan was doing well with that in round 1.
You mentioned Jordan Meehan. His father, Lee Meehan, in the news this past week. Of course, everyone was aware last August, it was the weekend that Jordan was scheduled to fight Mike Pyle, and Lee was banned from the building and was facing sexual battery charges. This past week, those charges were dropped. And it's one of those cases where when something like this happens, it becomes a big news story. When quietly the charges go away, they're not always, those don't always
like
seem
the
to
dirt.
make the big headlines. But I think, this guy, all charges were dropped here, and a statement was released by his representative. And I think it's just fair that those people that report this news, you have to report the end result here, that these charges were dropped.
For sure, and it's sometimes dicey because when it comes to any kind of sexual battery, anything like that, it's even uncomfortable to say. And we often say, you have...
Guilty.
Yeah, well, that, and it's like you can't doubt the accuser, so we have a hard time talking about it after. In this case, the accuser turned out to have a lot of credibility issues, and as a result, Lee was exonerated. And Lee handled this thing with absolute class. In the city of Lethbridge, they were going after him. There were newspaper articles, and Lee didn't say a word because he knew he was innocent. He knew he didn't do anything. He handled it with class. So Lee, keep your head up, your chin up high. And I know that's not a problem for you because I've seen you fight and you come forward like this.
Last thing I just wanted to touch upon, Alexander Shlemenko failing his drug test against Melvin Manhoff. That was a pretty violent knockout, and
No contest now, right?
now it will be a no contest for Shlemenko. Now 9-month suspension. Do you feel that this is going to eventually? Now Bellator is kind of under the spotlight here.
Yes, it's the whole sport, and I would expect that, especially with the UFC handling things the way they are, it's going to trickle down to these smaller organizations. And right now, Bellator is kind of that number 2. And I know everybody will say there's a number of number 2 organizations, ONE FC. But I think this is a good thing. Let's change the sport. Let's get everybody on the same page.
It's a problem in all sports. Yeah. And wouldn't it be cool if the UFC and the sport of mixed martial arts actually was on the front end of doing something about it?
All right, great points, guys. We have more Fight News Now Extra, so stay tuned.